You have been told that change is slow, that transformation requires years of effort, of discipline, of grinding away at your flaws until you emerge as someone new. You have been told that the life you long for is just beyond the next horizon, if only you work hard enough, if only you wait long enough, if only you become someone else entirely. But what if I told you this is not true? What if the life you seek is not a destination, but a single step away? 25 centuries ago, beneath the Bodhi tree, the Buddha did not attain enlightenment through decades of striving. He did not become someone new. He simply saw what was already true. In that moment of clear seeing, everything changed. Not because he acquired something, but because he let go of the illusion that had been holding him back. This is the power of a single decision. The decision to stop believing in the prison you have built for yourself. Consider the story of Angulimala, the notorious bandit who murdered travelers and wore their fingers as a necklace. When he encountered the Buddha, he was a man consumed by violence, by fear, by the belief that he was beyond redemption. Yet in a single moment, when he chose to lower his weapon and listen, the entire course of his life shifted. He did not become a different person. He simply stopped being the person he had believed himself to be. The fingers of his victims did not disappear. His past did not vanish, but his future was rewritten in an instant. This is the truth you must understand. You are always one decision away from a different life, not because the decision magically alters your circumstances, but because it alters you. It is the difference between a river dammed by rocks and a river flowing freely. The water is the same. The change is in what you allow it to become. But here is what the world does not tell you. This decision is not about choosing a new path. It is about seeing that the path was never as fixed as you believed. The rocks in the river were always movable. The prison door was never locked. You have been holding the key all along. Close your eyes for a moment. Listen to the voice in your head, the one that says, "I am not ready. I do not know enough. I might fail." This voice is not your wisdom. It is your jailer. It does not protect you. It paralyzes you. The mind is a master of construction. It builds walls where there are none. It spins stories of danger where there is only possibility. You believe you are thinking your way to clarity, but you are only digging yourself deeper into confusion. The Buddha called this papanka, the proliferation of concepts, the endless weaving of thoughts that pull you further from the present moment. You mistake this mental chatter for preparation, for wisdom, for caution. But it is none of these things. It is fear in disguise. A student once came to me, tormented by indecision. "I want to leave my job and pursue my art," he said. "But what if I fail? What if I am not good enough?" I asked him, "When you were a child, did you ask yourself these questions before you drew a picture or sang a song?" He laughed. "No, of course not." "Then why do you ask them now?" I replied. The child does not fear failure because the child does not yet believe in the separate self that can fail. The child acts, and in acting learns. But the adult stands at the edge of the river, calculating the depth, the current, the temperature, while the water rushes past. Overthinking is not preparation. It is avoidance. It is the mind's way of keeping you safe, by keeping you still. But safety is an illusion. The river flows whether you jump in or not. The only difference is whether you let it carry you. The decision that changes everything is not the one you make after months of analysis. It is the one you make despite the analysis. It is the moment you say enough. I will trust myself. You believe you must see the entire path before you take the first step. You believe you must guarantee the outcome before you begin. But life does not work this way. Life is not a map. It is a compass. It does not show you the destination. It only shows you the next direction. There is a Zen story about a man who falls off a cliff and grabs a branch to save himself. As he dangles, he sees a tiger above him, snarling, and another below, waiting. A mouse begins to gnaw at the branch. Just then, he notices a wild strawberry growing on the cliffside. He plucks it, eats it, and finds it delicious. This is the wisdom of the present moment. Even in danger, there is sweetness. Even in uncertainty, there is nourishment. You cling to control because you fear the unknown. But the unknown is not your enemy. It is the very substance of life. The Buddha did not teach his disciples to control their lives. He taught them to meet their lives with openness, with curiosity, with trust. You cannot control the tiger above or the tiger below. You cannot stop the mouse from gnawing, but you can taste the strawberry. Action is not the opposite of faith. Action is faith. It is the willingness to move without guarantees, to trust that the path will reveal itself as you walk it. The farmer does not demand that the seed guarantee a harvest before he plants it. He plants the seed and tends the soil. The harvest comes or it does not, but the act of planting is itself the reward. What are you waiting to plant? What strawberry are you refusing to taste because you are too busy calculating the risks? There is a saying in Japan, Nana korobi, ya oki, fall 7 times, rise 8. This is not a metaphor for resilience. It is a description of how life works. The path is not created by those who never fall. It is created by those who keep rising. I once knew a monk who spent years meditating on the perfect way to build a temple. He studied architecture, consulted masters, drew endless plans, but the temple was never built. One day an old woman came to him and said, "You have spent so long preparing to build that you have forgotten the purpose of the temple." He asked her, "What is the purpose?" She replied, "To give people shelter. Your preparations give shelter to no one." The first step is always the hardest because it is the only one that requires true courage. The second step is easier. The third easier still. Momentum is the ally of the brave, but you must begin. Do not wait for motivation. Motivation is a myth, a story the mind tells itself to avoid the discomfort of starting. The truth is simpler. Action precedes motivation, not the other way around. You do not wait to feel inspired to meditate. You meditate, and the inspiration comes. You do not wait to feel confident to speak your truth. You speak, and the confidence follows. The decision to act is not about overcoming fear. It is about recognizing that fear is not the enemy. Fear is the companion of every meaningful journey. The question is not, how can I eliminate my fear? The question is, what will I do in spite of it? You tell yourself, when I am ready, I will begin. But readiness is a mirage. It recedes as you approach it. The student is never ready to become the teacher. The apprentice is never ready to become the master. The caterpillar is never ready to become the butterfly. The change happens because they are not ready. The transformation is the result of the leap, not the preparation for it. A young monk once asked me, "How will I know when I am ready to teach?" I answered, "You will know when you start teaching." He looked confused. "But what if I make mistakes?" I said, "You will." "What if I do not know the answers?" I said, "You will not." "Then why should I begin?" I replied, "Because the world needs your questions as much as your answers." Certainty is not a prerequisite for action. It is a result of it. The Buddha did not wait to be certain before he left his palace. He left, and the certainty came later, or rather, he realized that certainty was never the point. The point was the journey itself. You are waiting for a feeling that will never come. The feeling of readiness is not a sign that you should begin. It is a sign that you have already begun. The Buddha did not teach his followers to trust in him. He taught them to trust in their own awakening. "Ahipasiko," he said, "come and see for yourself." This is the heart of the Buddhist path. Not blind faith, but verified faith. Faith that is tested, questioned, lived. You have been taught to distrust yourself, to look outside for guidance, for validation, for permission. But the compass you seek is not out there. It is within you. It is the quiet voice beneath the noise, the steady hand beneath the trembling, the wisdom beneath the doubt. A traveler lost in a forest does not find his way by standing still. He finds his way by walking, and by correcting his course as he goes. You will make wrong turns. You will stumble. But every misstep is information. Every detour is part of the path. Trust does not mean believing you will never be lost. Trust means believing you can find your way, even when you are. There is a story of a man who dreamed he was a butterfly. When he woke, he wondered, am I a man who dreamed he was a butterfly, or a butterfly dreaming it is a man? This is the question of your life. Who are you when you are not who you have been told to be? You have buried your potential beneath layers of shoulds and shouldn'ts, of others' expectations, of your own fears, but it is still there. Like a seed beneath the snow, It waits for the warmth of your attention to sprout. The decision to change your life is not about becoming someone new. It is about remembering who you have always been. The giant within you is not a future version of yourself. It is the real you, the one you were before the world told you who to be. What would you do if you knew you could not fail? Not because failure is impossible, but because failure is irrelevant. What would you create if you knew your worth was not tied to the outcome? A student once asked me, "How can I know if I am making the right decision?" I answered, "You cannot. But you can know if you are making the next right decision." Life is not a highway, illuminated by headlights that show you miles ahead. It is a path lit by a single lantern. You can only see the next step, but that is enough. The Buddha's path is called the middle way, not because it is moderate, but because it is direct. It does not require you to see the entire journey. It only requires you to see where you are now, and to take the next step with integrity. You do not need to know how the story ends. You only need to know how it begins. The world tells you to fit in, to be reasonable, to color within the lines. But the Buddha did not teach reasonableness. He taught awakening. And awakening is not reasonable. It is radical. It is disruptive. It is the courage to stand out when everyone else is sitting down. When the Buddha left his palace, he did not ask for permission. When he sat beneath the Bodhi tree, he did not wait for approval. He acted from the depth of his being, not the expectations of others. You have been taught that humility means making yourself small. But true humility is the courage to take up space, not for your ego, but for your truth. The world needs your voice, your art, your presence. Not because it is perfect, but because it is yours. The storms of life are not punishments. They are initiations. They do not come to break you. They come to reveal you to yourself. A bamboo tree grows for years underground before it breaks through the surface. All that time it is preparing, strengthening, gathering the energy to rise. Your struggles are not delays on your path. They are the path. They are the forces that shape you into who you are meant to be. The decision that changes everything is not the one that eliminates struggle. It is the one that changes your relationship to it. It is the moment you realize that the storm is not happening to you. It is happening for you. We have journeyed together through the illusion of stagnation and the truth of transformation. We have seen that you are always one decision away from a different life, not because the decision changes your circumstances, but because it changes you. The Buddha's teaching was never about becoming someone else. It was about seeing who you already are. Here is what you can do now. First, pause and ask, what is one small step I can take today toward the life I long for? Not next week, not when you feel ready. Today. Second, trust the compass from within. When doubt arises, ask, is this fear protecting me, or is it imprisoning me? Third, act before you are ready. The readiness will come from the action, not before it. If this teaching has resonated with you, I invite you to join our community of seekers and truth-tellers. Share in the comments. What struggle are you facing right now? What decision are you being called to make? Your story may be the lantern someone else needs to see their next step. Share this video with someone who is standing at the edge of their own river, afraid to jump. And if you wish to continue this journey together, subscribe to the channel. Let us walk the path as one. Until we meet again, may you trust the step beneath your foot, and the one after that.